Alright guys, so let's take a look at polynomial inequalities. So I've been asked to use the graph of the polynomial function to solve the given inequality. The good thing is I do not have to factor and solve this. All I have to do is use the graph as a reference point. So I see my function right here. Alright, and I also see that I have been given the points. See, this one would be negative 3, 0. And this one over here would be positive 4, 0. And then, of course, I obviously have this 1/2 right here. All right, so I basically have x to the third minus 1/2 x squared minus 25 over 2x minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. So all I did was move everything to one side so that I can plug in and see if I get true or false statements. So basically what I'm looking for is I want to know, because of this symbol right here, I want to know when is the function positive. So I'm going to pick numbers and plug them in, and if I get a positive answer, I am in that shaded region. If I get a negative answer, I am not. So I always like to pick numbers that are easy for me to use. So I'm going to use negative 10 for over here. So I've got negative 10. Oops, that didn't. Let me erase that. Apologize, guys. Negative 10 to the third power minus 1/2 times negative 10 squared. And I'm going back to this one right here, minus 25 over 2 times negative 10 minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. And I'm looking for a true or false statement. So I'm going to use my calculator to simplify all of this down as much as I can. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that part for you. If you have questions about that, come see me. So I end up getting negative 931 is greater than or equal to 0, which is a false statement. So that tells me that my answers cannot lie in this region right here. Okay, so now I'm going to check my next possible answer, and I'm going to use negative 1 because it lies right here. So I've got negative 1 raised to the third power minus 1/2 times negative 1 squared. And again, I'm going back to this one, minus 25 over 2 times negative 1 minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. And again, I'm trying to look and see if I get a true or false statement. So I end up getting, and it depends on if you turn it into fractions or decimals, but I end up getting 10 over 2 is greater than 0, or 5 is greater than or equal to 0. Either way, that's a true statement, and that tells me that I do shade in there. Alright, so now I'm going to check another test point. For this test point, I'm going to use the origin. Alright, so I'm going to do 0 raised to the third power minus 1/2 times 0 squared minus 25 over 2 times 0. Minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. So I'm basically going to end up, all of this is going to zero out, and I get a false statement. So I know that my answer choices cannot go here. And then my very last one that I need to check is just something that is bigger than my region right here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use positive 10 just because 10 is really easy for me to work with in my head. You might choose a different number, and that's okay. As long as you choose a number that is not on the line and is in the correct shaded region. So I'm plugging it in just as I've been doing. Oh, I'm sorry, that should be a 2. Minus 25 over 2 times 10 minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. Again, I'm going to plug all of this in, and I'm going to get 819 is greater than 0, and that is a true statement. So I know that I'm going to lie in this region right here. So now it's time for me to pick my answer choices. So if I go back up to my original problem, I saw that this was an or equal to. So that tells me that I'm going to be using brackets on everything except for infinity. Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at my answer choices. Well, I automatically know that A can go away because I cannot have a bracket on infinity. So A can go away. And now I'm going to look and see between B, C, and D. So I know that my answer choices are going to lie between -3 and -1/2. And like I said, it's going to be bracket, bracket, and then the union of 4 to infinity. So if I look at my answer choices, this one is out, and this one, I just caught this one is out because there's no brackets. So my correct answer choice is B.